how, you know, even though they were cousins, that everybody grew up so close, it was like sisters and brothers. And so I admire how, you know, even as adults, they stick really, really close. But that started at a young age. And certain things, if they're cultivated at younger ages, like with them, you're much more able to stick with them. So biblically, it's written, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from them. And so if that's close family relationships, if that's how to honor and respect people, if that's how to manage finances, all of those concepts still apply at younger ages, right? And so I was talking to James, and I was like, man, we really gotta do better with getting our families together, not just waiting for reunions, but what if we got together on holidays, whether it was 4th of July or Thanksgiving. You know, I remember one year, I think I drove probably 11,000 miles in about 10 days. So I went to Montgomery, and then I went over to spend some time with Lucy, and then back to Montgomery, and then Mississippi on the way home, and all the way back to Texas. Because my kids was like, we want to go see our cousins. What if we did that? Like, I was able to go see Darnell, or Darnell was able to come see me. You know, we get our kids together while they're young. When they're older, oh, we want to go to a reunion. So that's just another strategy. But what's one of the biggest hangups? Expense, right? So what I'm about to share with you, it's just a strategy to not only help get people to the reunion, help us live a little bit more comfortable so that we can actually spend more time together outside of the reunion, so that we can foster that bond while our kids are younger. What if it took the stress off of marriages or relationships? You know, what if a parent was able to stay home more, to pour more skill sets into our kids? So it's going to be a really, really simple concept. Another thing that really blessed me when I was talking with Uncle Mose, and I remember, you know, a time when I was younger and my mom was going through a tough time after my parents split up. You know, there was times that I wouldn't have had a roof over my head if it wasn't for Uncle Mose having an extra house to put us in. I heard somebody having a conversation the other day talking about Ajax Street. I'm like, what you know about Ajax Street? You know, so I'm really grateful, and honestly, it was things like that that inspired me to do some of the things I do now within real estate, and having other opportunities to help people with affordable houses, or to be able to help people in times of trouble, was because of things like what Uncle Mose did for me when I was younger. So that's where a lot of this comes from. And this is the, sorry, it's real well used, but you know, we quote a lot of this. This is the greatest success book ever written. The greatest success book, it has the blueprint, it has everything we need to be successful in every area of our lives. And we can't just go through this and pick out, oh, I think I'll take this. Oh, I think I'll take this, right? He said that he's our shepherd and we shall not lack. There should be no shortage or insufficiencies. And so we always have a part, right? We can pray for the Father to pay bills or to even heal us, but we have a part of that too. Are we taking care of the temple that God gave us, right? There's a lot of things in the Bible that says, if, then. If, then. That means that we have a part. Right? We can quote scripture, but then we do what the Father has already commanded us to do. Right? And so this is not about condemnation or judgment at all, but I started saying a little bit the other night that, you know, my first message was, if God said it, that settles it. That was a foundational work for me. And everything that he says in this book, that settled it for me. So God, if you said it, then it is so. So, and I know I didn't connect the dots the other day, but that's where that came from. And so I'm going to share with you just a really, really short technique. I've had the amazing privilege over the last 2.5 years to be groomed and personally mentored by some amazing, affluent people. Most wealthy people, you really will have no idea that they're wealthy. They're not the flashy type of wealthy people. And the types of strategies that they use is what I'm going to share with you today. But at the base of everything that I'm going to share with you, And you have a notepad there, and I would really like for you to maybe just draw along with me, and Angelica can attest to this. I didn't want to do handouts because papers tend to get thrown away. And I don't want to email you a presentation, but if you can hear my words, if you can see, and if you can write, that's 3 ways you're getting input. And I know that there will be a slim amount of something that will stick with you. And to be completely honest with you, only about 10% of what I'm going to say today you'll actually remember. And out of everybody in this room, only about 1 to 3% of you will actually take it and apply it. Now that's no hit, that's just statistically. I will have the amazing privilege to speak before groups of hundreds and thousands, and that's just statistically the response. But all God commands us to do is to speak, to sow the seeds, right? So let me ask you this. What's in a seed? If we think about an apple has seeds, right? What's inside of a seed?
For life, the beginning.
Life, the beginning. What else? Okay. So now we're going to move more to finances and really talking about money at this point. Before that was more conceptual. So I want you to think of seed as money. Okay? Or think of money as seed. Let me correct that. Think of money as seed. And when I ask you what's inside of a seed, you take an apple off of a tree. But inside of that apple are seeds that if you planted, what happens? Another tree. But not just one tree. Think inside of a seed is an orchard. Okay? Inside of a seed is orchard. So if you constantly eat your seed, there's no orchard. And if you plant your seed into the ground to where it can grow, it produces more fruit. And don't necessarily pick and eat, but then you take that seed and you plant more, right? And then over time you have this orchard. That makes sense? So that's the kind of concept that we're going to move forward with. There's a lot of things that you're going to find. So in this concept, and the reason I gave that statistic earlier is at the basis of what I'm going to say is the biggest thing you have to overcome is mindset, right? Remember I started talking about grooming? Most of us, and I'm included here, never had a true financial class or lesson until I was well out of high school, right? No one taught me about managing my money. No one taught me about seed and how to make it grow. I never got any lessons about that, right? I had to figure that stuff out. So just like if we teach our kids how to honor and respect people, what if we started teaching our kids about money when they were young? By the time they finish high school, they could literally have a master's degree on how to manage money, right? They will be well ahead of most, right? The next part is education. So mindset and education are really the 2 biggest things that we have to overcome. Mindset, a lot of things is consumption, right? We're constantly marketed to through commercials, advertisements, cars, shoes, fancy vacations, and all of that stuff is actually great, you know, because it is also written that you should have life, enjoy life, and have it more abundantly. So you should actually enjoy life, right? But there's a strategy how to do those things. So those are 2 of the biggest things. And so hopefully just a little bit of what I said will contribute to the mindset, and a little bit of what I'm going to share today will contribute to the education. This is typically what we find. Now there's a book out there, there's a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And he talks a lot about the whole quadrant, right? And so that's really where this concept comes from. And you'll find that most people will fall somewhere within this quadrant, right? And so this quadrant, you'll find people that are the population of they're poor and needy, right? Poor and needy. spiritual emperor. I'm fortunate enough to have a mentor that was in this category, and it was rich, miserable, and I won't say what that B stands for. It's for a father's son. Okay. Rich and miserable. But this top quadrant, fulfilled. Freedom, success, fulfilled. And that looks different from everybody, you know. When I lost my husband, you know, one of the blessings was I didn't have to really worry about initially what I was going to do to provide for us. You know, we lived a pretty conservative life. We were debt-free, with the exception of my house. And the community came around and they surrounded us. And I could pretty much do what I wanted to do, going where I wanted to do. But from that point forward, having that type of freedom never meant the same thing to me again, right? It means more to me to be able to help a single mom be able to not stress about how she's going to provide food. It means more for me to be able to help a family send a kid to college, or to for that parent to stay home. So those are the things that I find more fulfillment out of. So I'm really big on this area because of these things. I get fulfillment out of seeing others grow. And I made this joke the other night about being a boss lady. You know, no one wants to be a boss. You know, but every leader wants to lead by inspiring people and pulling greatness out. And so that's what I enjoy doing. So I hope today that I inspire you and pull the greatness that's out of you. So without further ado, did you guys get that? I'm going to give you the strategy that no matter what your income level is, it will change your world. If you apply just this one thing, you're not going to find this from CPAs. As a matter of fact, if you implement this, you'll be well ahead of about 85% of the population. Okay. No matter what your income. Now, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter. W-2 income doesn't matter. Geographical location doesn't matter. Because mindset is still the same. Habits are still the same. You know, there was a statistic that said if we redistributed the wealth amongst everyone evenly, within 2 years it'll be back in the same way because of consumption, because of mindset. So with this strategy, you can create wealth, you can annihilate debt, you can invest, you can do whatever it is you want to do. You can come to the next reunion. If I can give you one strategy right now that if you left here today and you implemented it, you can pay for the next reunion. Fees, plane ticket, and hotel costs. One thing is, if you went home right now and you ate out of your pantry, everything out of your food, out of your refrigerator, your pantry, you probably could go 3 to 4 weeks without going to the grocery store. Good. That's an automatic $400 or $500 right there. But I don't want to. Okay, where your ego with your bank account, right? That's what I mean by mindset, education. What are you willing to do? Okay, you try it. We probably have 3 or 4 different breakfast options. 4 boxes of cereals, Pop-Tarts, eggs, bacon. Okay, so 10, 10, 10, 70. And in this practice, basically, your 10% is your giving, charity, or tithes. However you choose to label. And I use this because most of the time I'm speaking to non-church groups. So that might be your tithe, that might be your giving, it might be your charity. If you've got debt, how many of you got debt? Right. What does that feel like?
Heavy.
The worst.
Yeah.
Having debt?
Having debt, yeah. What's it
Yeah.
feel
Is it
like?
heaven?
She said, how did debt feel? I said, heavy.
Oh, I thought you said heaven. I'm
Could you
like,
imagine being debt-free, like totally debt-free and not having to owe anyone anything? Like, what would that feel like if you didn't?
Free.
You got to be free, yeah. If you were able to get your income and know that it didn't have to go to anyone else, you will get to direct where that went to. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna say paying off the debt. Well, now I'm not going to get too much into wealth on this, but wealth could be anything to, buying stocks, dividend stocks, which are totally safe, guys. Don't have to worry about the stock market. Dividend stocks, saving money for some type of real estate property, something that I call CFAs, cash flow assets. Cash flow assets are, you don't have to do anything, you're getting a monthly income. Okay? This is inevitably where you would want to go, right? But just for this sake of this lesson, if you do these things, then this is what you live on. Now, you can even be more conservative and go, this could be 60%. Okay? Depending on how much debt you have, maybe there's 2 working partners in the household, you may be able to live off 60%. Double up on your debt. Some people choose not to worry about accumulating wealth right now. They want to accelerate debt, so you can actually just do 10%, maybe 20% toward debt on your living expenses. I'm going to break down the 70%, okay? But that right there, I don't care if you get $2,000 a month, $4,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Can you see, no matter what, you're always saving. Now, when you start talking about your emergency fund, that comes out of your living expenses. That's not your savings. Wealth is different from savings. Okay? Wealth is only going to be used to create cash flow, meaning things that are going to pay you. Okay? This is not your 401k, your IRAs. There's none of that stuff there. Okay? This is not something that you touch. Well, it could be the 401ks, IRAs. Actually, it could be. Okay? But if you're saving your 6-month emergency funds, that's going to come out of your 70% living. So let me give you an example of what that 70% could look like. So what you would want to do is you would want to create what's called segregated accounts. And I'll give you an example of maybe how my initial 70% works.
I'm gonna say you're eating pretty good. There we go.
Ain't peaceful?
Yeah. 55%. Jesus.
Okay, I think that may have been where I initially started when I first started implementing this, but I think I probably have now about maybe 6 different segregated accounts. So what you would do is with your bank account, right, you have your main operating account, and you're literally going to set up maybe about 4 other different savings accounts. So when that 7% comes in, your percentages automatically get dispersed. So like for instance, I have a debit card that goes for groceries and gas, and when that account is gone, there's no more food, and we're either walking or we're not going anywhere. Right? So again, it's kind of like where I started with, you want to get out your pantry? Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, you go with bank account. You know, repairs, that's that emergency fund that you're constantly with, and fun. So when I say, hey, you know, watch your consumption, it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. So my kids' sports come out of fun. Any activities that we want to do comes out of fun. our one night a week that we eat out, that comes out of fun. If we're gonna go to the movies, that comes out of fun. So it's not that you can't live life and enjoy it and have fun. It's just that it has a place. Now you give yourself some parameters. It's just like you can eat and eat and eat. So are you just gonna loosen your belt and eat some more just so you can get some more in? You know, where's the discipline? And so now what I want to do is I'm going to take this practical. Where's my babies? Xavier, come on over.
Come on down.
Come on down.
Oh, the price is right.
Really quick. So I have, how many dollars do we have here? I hope I counted them right. It's 11? Okay. So I want you to take 10%, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sure you know percentage. 10%. What is 10%? Okay, so that's your giving of your time, right? We'll take another 10% to maybe pay off debt, right? And then another one to put in your wealth account. Okay. So that leaves you with how many? 70% or $7. So it doesn't matter if it's $100, again, $1,000, $10,000 is still going to be the same. Now, if you did approximately 55%, and these are really good estimations, you take half of it. So what is operating? That's going to be your utilities, your water, your phone, things like that. So now think about how much fun we usually have every month.
More than $1.
Wow.
Wow.
So no wonder, you know, we are buried under debt. You know, no wonder. So that is really the simple lesson. That if you take this one thing, if you go home and eat out of your pantry, we can go ahead and register for the next one in the next 2 years. If you go home right now and apply this, so let me tell you how powerful this is. Can you imagine if we go home and apply this on the next prayer call or the testimonials come out? Man, there's this crazy strategy that we got at the reunion. I thought it was like insane. I really didn't think it was work. I thought she was off her rockers. But guess what? I got like $2,000. I paid off $5,000 in debt. What kind of motivation would that do to get to the next one? Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about the segregated account?
Segregated account.
How you set up that?
Yeah. So what you want to look for, you're sitting good because I was kind of ready for questions. So what you want to do is you want to basically investigate your banks. A lot of banks will allow you to open additional accounts for free. There may be some stipulations, like I know Bank of America used to. They're now to move this. So I'm actually moving my accounts from Bank of America to Compass. Wells Fargo, I know, does this. As long as you have $25 being auto deposited into that account will be free. So your main account, say your paycheck, is direct deposited into your operating account. And on a certain day of the month, the 15th of the month, you can set up these automatic transactions or these automatic transfers. You're going to open up a savings account or another checking account for groceries, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it as. And on the 15th of every month, I will automatically this amount. Now you don't have to calculate your percentages. So let's just say, let me turn this power save off because I like to do practical things. Power save is coming on. We're going to go off of a $5,000 month income. $5,000 a month, what is 55? I'm sorry, actually $5,000 a month. What is 70% of $5,000 a month? Is that pretty average? Okay, 35?
Yes.
35?
Yes.
Okay, let's go off of $3,500 a month.
You're saying 35 for the operating?
No, so your gross, your
Take home. Is it take home or gross?
actually, let me back up because this doesn't necessarily take into consideration the taxes. So you can do this off your net, but this number right here should come off of your gross.
Yes,
in my opinion.
gross.
So
Yep.
But the rest of this would come off of your net amount.
Right.
With the exception of this amount here. Okay, so $3,500 a month net bring home pay. Okay, this is your actual bring home pay. So 70% of that is $2,450. Okay. So this is actually what you have to live on. Okay. So we're going to take that, and we're going to take 55% of that. So that's 1,000. And we do use a different color. $1,347.50. For groceries, 20%. That's $490. Now, I have a mentor and coach that actually challenges people to live off of $20 per family member per week. So at my house, that would be $60 a week. I'm not necessarily following instructions on that one, just because I choose to eat a little different way, but that's a real challenge. But you know what, I know people that do it, and they are not in debt in crazy records amount of time. But anyway, in this example, that would be that amount. All right, so gas at 8%, that would leave me $196 for gas. So what does that cost me to do? It costs me to be very strategic with my driving. You know, I may plan errands only on a particular day if I'm going to be on a certain side of town. You know, fortunate enough for me, I work from home. And for days that I may drive into an office, that might be the day that I plan errands. So you become very strategic with your expenses. Repairs and miscellaneous things, because something's going to go wrong if you own a home. Okay, so that's $175 a month. And you know what? For some months, I may not have any repairs. Like right now, Deborah and Sparkle had to cook in my kitchen, and my main kitchen light doesn't work. Sorry. I don't have enough money in my account to call in the electrician. So what do? I wait until it's time for me to pay for the electrician. Do I have money somewhere else? I do. Yes, ma'am.
So you don't, if you have an emergency like that, you don't pull the money
From somewhere else.
You just wait until.
And it really depends on what it is. So like my kitchen light, I can get by without it. If it was my HVAC, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, but that's where, and this is getting a little bit out of the scope of our topic, that's where this becomes so important, because when you do this, you can become your own bank. I recently had a health crisis to where I borrowed quite a bit of money from myself. Now I'll have to pay myself back, and I'll pay myself back with interest, but at least I had to pull from. Okay? So if an HVAC unit goes down, and you apply this, you can borrow it from yourself. And I say borrow, don't just take it. You put it back. It becomes a debt service. You pay yourself back like you would pay anybody else back. And pay yourself back with interest. It don't have to be 16% like they want to charge us. It can just be 3 or 4.
So with these segregated accounts, that means you have all of those are different.
Actually different accounts.
In your 70, for your 70%, that's all of those are different debit cards.
So I only have 2 debit card accounts. That's operating expenses and that's groceries. Okay, the rest of them are savings. If I need anything out, I'll transfer out to something else.
So if
I'll physically go to the bank and withdraw it.
So if I pull up to get some gas,
That's why, well, see, these 2 are actually in the same account for me. I'm trying to think, what is my, what is my other account? But this is where I started. And when I started, I saw that wasn't effective for me. I didn't want to have all those cards, because I also have a part for like my business account. So I ended up consolidating these into accounts. I just took a picture of my initial notes. But once you do this, you will figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But the main thing is to have its own account so you know when it's all gone. You know when the account is empty. Yes.
Are those, the 8, 7, and 10, are they savings accounts? You said that's savings, are they separate savings
Or
accounts?
separate savings account.
And the bank will do that? Banks will do
Yeah,
that?
you can, actually, most of the time you can open it up online. So that 10% is, of course, 130. So what does that mean though? Like if my kids want to do something, you gotta choose what you want to do. You can't, I mean, you want to go out to eat or do you want to play a sport? This is all we have.
Will the banks also just automatically take, like if you have, like you have a direct deposit of your income, will the banks automatically take out whatever you request to put in those accounts?
You would go in and set up the automatic
Transfer.
It's called automatic
Automatic.
transfer. And if you're not that savvy, if you go into a personal banker, they can help you set it up. But figure out your percentages first, and then you tell them what you want. Even like if you're working with a professional or CPA, get your game plan first, and then you go in there and tell them what you want. Don't let them tell you. They're getting a commission. I mean, that's what I do, but I mean,
I don't think everybody heard.
that's what I do sometimes.
I don't think they heard that. I don't think everybody heard that last statement. They're getting the what?
They get a commission.
That's right.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend after reading Rich Man Poor Dad book. You have to be very disciplined in doing so. She and her husband were very disciplined in that. They didn't do it. They did take his advice, but they did not use the bank to do it. They used envelopes at home to do the same thing. So you have to be very disciplined, because when you got that kind of money laying around and you put it in envelopes and you labeling it like that, it's easy to go. And I tried it, I couldn't do it. It was, especially after I got these children. But she did the exact same thing with envelopes.
And that envelope system originally came from, what's the guy's name?
You did Richard.
Glasses, beard, Dave Ramsey.
She did the
Dave
exact same
Ramsey.
thing.
So the thing with doing it this way is that you can actually track your spending. You can't track cash. Like you can track transactions here. So like right now, I actually go home and pull out your bank statements, your credit card statements. There's actually an exercise, which I may actually email you this, get out some highlighters and find your FAT. Your FAT is basically your excess spending. If you actually look at your debit card statements, your credit card statements, you can go and highlight them. And I can guarantee you that everybody can probably find $300 to $500 of excess spending. You can't do that with cash. You can't do that. If I gave you some cash right now, you would, where am I? I can't track it.
Yeah, you know what I did? I did the envelope thing. My girlfriend, that's what she taught me, because I was a caregiver, we got paid in cash. So she would pay me in an envelope, and then I said, I don't know how to manage it. So we got envelopes. This was groceries, and put X amount of money in it. And every time I spent something, I made sure I had a receipt that went in the envelope to show me where I spent.
So again, I mean, and those things are great. Guys, this is actually called ND1, by the way. So this is really only one system of 3. And ND means non-discretionary. Non-discretionary means it takes the emotion. There's a lot of emotion in cash systems. This takes your emotion. It puts it on autopilot, automatic. Okay, this is just one system. There's 2 more beyond that. So I'm pretty much done. If there's any more questions, I do want to leave you with 2 references. A very blessed man recommended this book to me. He was a client of mine when I left engineering. When I started being a trainer, very successful trainer. But I was working with, I was always blessed to be around very fun people. But he recommended this book. This is like a $7, $8 book. I highly recommend it for all of my young people. There's a story that's told in a, what is it called? A parable. Nice story found told in parable form. Very thin book, and I gotta figure out how we can get this. Oh, John, I need a game, or maybe this can be one of the prizes for the game, for the games tonight. So this will be a giveaway. I don't know if we have a way to to a game or something, but I like to give that away. And if you're like Angelica, you're already working, things have changed. And this is another book that I highly recommend. If you're early working miracle, this would be great for you. Even if it's later for you, you're really early, but Darnell, great resource. I recommend it. You can get it on, what's the, Amazon? You can get it on Amazon. What's the Kindle version? $1.99.
Oh. Who's the author of that book?
Huh? Martin Rudy. Martin Rudy. Now, the New Rules of Retirement Savings. It's written by an actuary, and an actuary is basically a mathematical scientist. These are the people that insurance companies hire. Okay.
And who's George?
George Thompson. Now, there's many different versions of this book. This is a really old book, but goes along the same principle, but an excellent read to reinforce. Okay. All right. And that's all I have for you guys. So I hope it was a blessing to you. I hope you got something out of it. Whether it's eating out of your pantry or you see something that you can go on and apply. If you start here, I mean, there's so much more. If you just start here, it will change your world. Teach your kids this. This is what we do in my house all the time. I mean, you can go over this for several years, and they'll get it down and they'll have it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention.
Well, I have to say, we should save money for the month of June, July. We ate out of the freezer, Miracle and Chase. That's what we did. Yes or no? We surely did. I did not buy groceries. I said, and we didn't do it basically. I wasn't thinking about saving money. I didn't look at it from that perspective. It's just that we so used to going to the grocery store every week, and all we're doing is just piling stuff on top of stuff, you know, food. And I said, no, I'm not going to the grocery store until after the family reunion. So we basically, for the summer, we've been just eating at the freezer.
Let's pray for a question.
One thing is, I love the idea that we're having this, and I'm amongst family, because if I ask a dumb question, I'm still amongst
There's
family.
never a dumb question. Never a dumb question.
You can get a debit card for each one of those. Like, how do you, like when you go to get your gas, or like say you did separate your gas from groceries, you went to get gas. You have a gas debit card. Do you have a repair debit card? Do you have a debit card for fun?
I personally, I don't, because I don't want to carry that many cards. Actually, I'll show you what my 2 cards look like. I have one of them. So I pretty much just have 2, one for the operating, one for the groceries and gas. Like I said, I chose to combine these, and the cards just look totally different, so I don't get them.
Okay.
So that's my food and my gas card.
Okay.
You know, and my main operating card, that's it, that's it. So if I have a repair, I go on my phone to my mobile app, I transfer the amount to the operating account, and I use the operating card. For both groceries and gas, they're now combined in the same account, so I go to the grocery store, I get gas. It's just one card. If we're gonna go out for fun, typically I'm gonna drive to the ATM. I'm gonna make that a little bit harder. I'm gonna go to the ATM and get what I need. So I have to go to the ATM so I can pay here and back for getting my kids into Hurricane Mark. Oh, you know that, sorry. I don't make it easy. So you don't want a debit card for everything. You don't want it that easily accessible, right? And plus you won't carry all those cards around.
I like that.
So
But you do have the separate savings account. I mean,
and actually, that's another account, but there is a savings account that I have. And then that savings account actually goes on to a broker account, because I'm gonna get more than what the banks are giving. That's a whole nother strategy that I don't want to get in. So, yeah, actually, that is another account, your actual savings account.
Oh, so when are we going to talk about the cash flow?
Y'all want to hear about that? I think it would be too, I think it,
The only reason why I ask is because I feel like there's so many different, like, seemingly scam
yes. If you have a
scams out
particular
there.
question, I'm happy to answer it.
Not right now. So we don't want to talk about it now, but just in general, like, every time I hear about residual income and things like that, I'm like, oh, it's a scam, you know? And so knowing what is actually something that makes sense and what's really just taking your money and keeping your money.
Residual income is different than cash flow. Residual is more of your direct sales type of things that based off of an organization. It's not just off of your own efforts. It's off of your entire organization that you're getting the residual from, you know, a team. Like I have an insurance agency and I have many agents that work in my insurance agency. So all that business comes through my agency and I get a residual off of all the business they bring. That's called residual income. Cash flow is, I have 2 houses in Indiana. When they pay their rent, I pay the management fees, I pay any repairs, and the rest of the money come to me and I did nothing. That's cash flow. That's a monthly income that I get. I have a dividend stocks, so every quarter that stock is going to pay a dividend. That's cash flow coming to me. That's called cash flow. I did nothing to earn it.
And I just want, because this leaves something that I would love to be able to hopefully say yes. Just like we have a prayer call every week, it would be great if somehow we can have a finance call where somebody like you can be on that call and answer basic questions that they have, like we did the same thing with Friday. We had a Wednesday, and Jeff had questions about Revelations. So we set up a Wednesday call, and I put like 4 guys on that call, and when she called in, she was able to ask questions about Revelations that helped her understand, and it became individualized, where you had time to really explain things like that. So if that's something you would like to do, I'll surely love to set it up. I know you're going to be a busy person.
No, it's not just that either. It's, you know, even though I just gave you an answer, I love the fact of, how can I say this? I'm going to use myself because I can't find what I'm looking for. It's kind of like when we were playing for the reunion. And this is kind of maybe sometimes when we were involved. It's like my thought process goes this way. It's like, don't tell me or teach me how to think. Let me flow in how I think and you help guide and shape my thoughts. So with that question, you know, honestly, I would love to just direct you in some ways to learn what residual is, what cash flow is, and then maybe give some guidance on keeping you safe. Because I can tell you, it's just like an iceberg. Oh, let me do one more thing, I promise. I'll be done, I promise. So I just gave you a tip. Okay? And as much as I gave you a tip, I really want to plug you into a source that you can continue to look on. So that source is going to be callfreedom.com. There's a group, and that's a place that you can go to get ongoing support. So let's just say this is water, and this is the iceberg, right? I think most of us know that this is only what you see the iceberg, too. Right? But if you look under the surface, the iceberg is much bigger. And so that's what I mean by, I just gave you a tip. I just fed you. I didn't teach you how to fish. Well, actually, that wasn't teaching you because it's a system. That's applicable no matter where you are. So let me think about that.
Okay. It just came in my head, so you.
Any questions, though, I'm happy to kind of really make sure, vet it out for you. Yeah, you want to stay away from that, you want to run, or maybe here's some places you can go get some more research.
Talk a little louder. Let me hear you.
Debit cards and things like that, like they're like you seem very supportive of me, but can you like describe some of the risks and like how to avoid the risks of avoid fraud?
Debit cards or credit cards?
Do like debit cards and credit cards.
You know, I'm pretty leery of using debit cards for a lot of things, only because but you have to have the discipline. I do use my credit card a lot because I travel a lot. I use a lot for business. It's how I get points. It's how I stay at hotels for free. I know a lot of people go on vacations for free because they use their points. But if you're not implementing that 10-10, 10-70 system, you probably won't be paying it off every month, which you're just going to get yourself in debt. Okay, that's one disclaimer. Now, I like using credit cards because if there is a fraudulent charge, all I gotta do is call the company and they're gonna go ahead and just take that off my card versus a debit card. Oh, there's a process. You're not gonna automatically get your money back. So, and you may not get your money back.
Then with your debit card, somebody will wipe your account clean, all the money gone. Now you got to prove what's real.
And there's alerts that you can put on debit cards, but it's just not as good as a credit card. And a credit card sometimes will even actually call you or send you a message to your phone to approve. And I think banks are trying to step up to that, but they're not there yet. Some banks are getting there, but that was.
I think the best thing is that the main account, you don't use debit card and everything. You have a separate account with a few dollars you can keep up with before the news, whatever. They hit that, it doesn't wipe it out, you know. So you have to protect yourself. It's just like the senior citizen. We are bombarded. As closer you get to 65, they come out of woodwork with all kind of scams every day. So you got to be really aggressive what's going on. And so easy to get you, lose your money.
When they started adding, so they started adding like skimmers and like things behind like in ATMs, gas stations and stuff like that. That's
Oh, you mean like pulling cash like that? So that is the risk. But that's why also my operating account, if you use this strategy, you only have 55%, and it's truly my monthly bill. So it's going to get down to zero. I mean, it usually gets down to about $25. They got to get me right when my deposit gets there because my bills are coming out. Automatically, my bills are coming out of that operating account. That's the purpose of it. So very soon, I'm going to have a very low balance. And if you look, what was this 55% amount? It was only what, $1,200? And I mean only $1,200. That's nothing, but it's not your entire check. It's that amount that you set aside. So that part is the risk.
For like the 70%, are you using credit and debit card? Or just like
No, that's really just a segregated account. And only 2 of those accounts have debit cards. The rest of them are savings. So yeah, none of those are for credit. So the thing is if you're using a credit card for something, it basically means with the exception of, say, things like this, or say with the exception of certain business expenses that are on a credit card, right? So I'll have to go pull money out of the fund to pay for Hurricane Harvey. If it's a business expense, I have more accounts. It gets a little bit more complicated, but ideally, if you're using a credit card, you ask yourself, why am I using a credit card? Do I not have any one of my accounts? And that's where it's kind of ego bank account. Is it an emergency?
Oh, sorry.
No, is it an emergency? Is it a want? Is it a need? And then you decide. And if you decide and it becomes that, that's okay. But at least now you're becoming more conscious, right? So
you only, I feel like it's kind of like a dumb question, but I don't know. Like you only use your credit card for emergencies. It's like I only have a debit card, right?
Yeah, you definitely ain't got no credit card.
But I don't get when you use credit like why. I know you're supposed to like build credit, but how do you know like when to use credit, when to use debit?
who says you need
That's a long story.
I don't want to open that can, because this system again, remember I said you can become your own bank. So why do I care what credit is?
Oh, but I thought you said earlier.
Buying a house.
There are asset-based loans. It doesn't always have to be based off of credit. So if you're building a wealth account and you have large sums, there's so many strategies. Like life insurance. You can have a policy that you can borrow money to buy a house. I mean, there's so many different strategies other than the traditional stuff. But as long as you're paying your bills, Have a revolving account. As long as you're paying it off every month, you're diligent, it'll help you build your credit. Right? So if you choose to, I don't know if it's on here that you would charge, maybe fund. If you're diligent to pay it off every month, then it'll help build your credit. You buy a car, I would say buy a car, you have a loan payment, that comes in your 70%. As long as you're paying your car payments on time, it's gonna build your credit. I wouldn't say necessarily use a credit card to do that. You know, maybe do a house, maybe do a car, but not a credit card. It tends to get away from you. So, good questions. All right, that's all I have. But if you guys take this $10 lesson and do that with your kids, whether they get birthday money or Christmas money or so for you giveaways.
Thank you.
I love it when God makes me wise, and when I made the statement of this was a learning session, I really believe this was a good learning session. We recorded it. We want to make sure, as long as Regina says it's okay, we want to make sure it's out there, at least for our families. We're not going to make it for everybody in the world. We want to make it better for certain families to get to it. Especially that breakdown. I mean, that breakdown is biblical. So, especially that breakdown, we want to make sure everybody gets it. I'm not going to overemphasize. I think she raised it, but she was right. Of the iceberg, she only gave you all a tip. And to be honest with you, she only gave you all the great tip. You know, she started going into some of the other stuff. But you really got to understand. You really got to learn before you get to where she is, where she's able to do the things she's doing. So that tip that she gave us was just that. It was a tip to get you fired up. I'm going to do this breakdown. I kind of got it, but I'm going to start living by it. And so I'm not going to emphasize anything else, but there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why God let you hear this. Don't close your ears and your mind. If God let you hear it, and He brought you all the way to Dallas to hear it, come on now. That means you got to, it means it's actually something that has to do something with your life. Okay? So I'm going to quit emphasizing that, but I want to, if y'all talk to me about it, I'm sure I'm going to emphasize it again, because I'm fired up about that breakdown too. Because that is biblical. And you know what I was glad of? And I know y'all know this word. That was no pyramid. She didn't give y'all no pyramid. She didn't give y'all anything that she has to get paid off of. All right? She gave y'all something that you do yourself. Yourself. And you pay yourself. If you do it yourself. Nobody, you can do her program and not pay anybody else. And still go to reunions, have money to set aside, blah, blah, blah. This is probably the most honest presentation I've had about how to make money. I'm a little nervous. This is probably the most honest presentation I've heard from anybody. I've done Amway, I've done them all, y'all. It's the most honest presentation I had, and I can look at that and say, wait, okay, that's me taking care of me, which means God taking care of me. Okay, leave it alone. So let's move on to the next two big things I want to talk about real quick, real quick. You guys have heard, some people have been involved. We have to have a scholastic program in this family. We have to start taking care of our children. And we have Regina, we have Bootsy, we have Fred, we got a list of people around here who understand what it takes to support a child's dream here on earth. Okay? We're going to start that. We've already got some boundaries set aside for that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining the boundaries that we've talked about. We try to get set aside. But please hear us. By the end of next family reunion, I want to walk in here with a scholarship program where we got money to offer children for going to school. When I walk out here, there's a I want to nominate our scholastic program to be named after Moses Carter. I want that to be my nomination for the Scholastic program. That's the program that covers all. I want to be this, I've got a couple names I want scholarships to be named after. Okay? But I haven't ran that about a few people. But that's my suggestion. Okay? So with the family, I want us talking about, one, I want us to agree that we're going to have a Scholastic program. And two, I want us to name that after something. Now, somebody may others too, but I know Uncle Moses. If there's anybody in this family that has been really pushing to make sure people get their education, Uncle Moses is one of them. So if he's not the guy, I know he should be one of the guys. And then we want to make some scholarships. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Scholastic program. Right now, we want to start at least at 9th grade high school, minimum. Okay? My objective is we start them in elementary. You don't get to college nowadays if you're not starting early enough with your plan. Okay? And like me, who's running around trying to find scholarships from here and scholarships from there, you don't have to do that if you start early enough. You can prepare yourself to go to college when you have scholarships or not. Okay? So those are the kind of things we want to start with. So that's, I'm throwing it out there. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that one. But just know there's going to be a whole lot of information coming to you guys about that. The other thing that I want to throw out there is what the Lord has truly put on my heart. Next year, this time, we will have a mentoring program for boys and to men. And we're going to have a location we're going to go to. And we're going to set up a program. We already started talking about it, setting up a program. On the committee will be Fred Williams, Dwight Daniels, my buddy, my pal. What's my brother's name? What's your son's name? Keith. TK, that's why I call it TK. I think it was someone else who's going to do that we've asked to already be on that program. The objective is, the plan is that we will have a retreat that will be start on a Friday evening. All you have, the parent has to do is get the child there. Okay? Get the child there. We will take care of the food, we'll take care of where they're going to stay, we'll take care of all of that. And then you have to pick them up on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. The age group is going to, I think it was teenagers. I think we was talking about 13 and up the first time. Okay? But that can change. You know, because if parents look at us and know we need to take care, we need to try to figure out a younger. These guys here got to figure out, because there's a model, there's a program we're trying to do. Because once they leave there, they will leave there with a mentor that will be obligated to walk with them. And it won't be no long distance walk. That obligation is at least a minimum face-to-face, pull them out of the environment, whatever. In other words, if I'm mentoring him, I got to go with him and pull him out of his environment, take him to IHOP, take him to a basketball game, I got to spend time with him at least once a month. That's a minimum to be a mentor. The objective is at least once a week you're doing something with him. But the minimum is, and it can't be, I'm going over and I'm having lunch with the family. You're not pulling him out of the environment. You're not finding out what's going on with him. He's not able to release because he's looking at mom, he's looking at dad, and his problem may be mom and dad. So you got to pull him out. He's got to go somewhere. Y'all got to go and hang so he can release. You're not taking, and the father can't be the mentor because father already got his job. Okay? And you're not trying to take anything from their job because the mother and father got a job. They're working, they got all kinds of other things they're trying to do. And I don't want to. This is what these guys are going to be doing. And it's just not going to be these guys doing it. Okay? The reason why we're going to the camp is because we're also training the mentees on what they need to do. And they're training the mentors on what he needs to do and what he has to be. So, and I'm going to tell you what it ends up being, and I'm going to let you, I'm not going to be, I said I'm not going to talk about this too much. The objective is, on that Friday, the objective is to break down all the barriers and get to know each other. On the Saturdays, we're going to do sports. We're gonna compete. We're gonna release the energy. That Saturday afternoon, that's breakdown time. That's when you strip. In the military, we would say we would strip all the ranks from it, put everybody on the same level. Usually that's crying, usually that's getting upset, it's usually going back and forth. You break the barriers. So when he comes out on Sunday morning, he's raw and he's ready to deal with whoever his mentor is. So that's why you do that portion. And we got trained guys that are gonna be working with these guys to make that happen. This ain't gonna be no happenstance. These guys, this is gonna be real work. Okay? And this is going to be annual. And to be honest with you, there's going to be another requirement. There's a regional requirement every 3 months. So this is the annual requirement. And then there's going to be a regional requirement. So everybody in New York, New Jersey, that area, they'll have another little small retreat where they'll get together for a day on a Saturday. They'll just all come together and they hang out and bond. So it's going to be one of those things that's going to grow. So this is not just a haphazard program we're talking about. This is a program that's been used and done. So I'm throwing it all at you because I've been researching this for the last 2 years. And I'm excited about it, okay? I'm excited about what we can do for the men and growing up the men in this program. Now, I've talked to Ms. Boosie about this. I've talked to other ones. This is just the beginning. There's got to be a female version also. There's got to be. Okay, but I have an understanding the male portion. Okay, we all know. Thank you for looking at your watch, dog. Yeah, I have been too long. I know I'm playing with you, but we all know, and every woman in here think I think know also. At 13, only a male can take that boy to the next level. There's a point in that boy's life where he can love his mama till the cows come in. But whatever male figure comes in his life, that's the guy he's going to follow. Okay? So if we're not the male figure coming in his life, the drug dealer becomes the figure that comes in his life, or the boy across the corner becomes the figure in his life, then that's the male he's going to follow. That's what people say, well, how come he's so bad? Well, because the male figure he understands is the wrong one. The mother's great. Best thing is a slice of bread. But every time she opens her mouth, she's like she's talking to a wall. Because she can't, it's impossible. God didn't make us that way, it wires that way. It's meant that a male has to take a male. But anyway, so I'm just letting you guys know, it's up to you guys to make sure you get them where we need them to be. It's up to us to make sure, once they get there, God allows us to take them to the next level. Okay? And I'm serious about this. We're going to do it. We're very much. So if these guys don't step up, I found two or five more to win. Well, this don't happen. So yes, sir.
Oh, you good?
Not to put any pressure on the woman, but the women kind of say spoke to Aunt Lucy about this anything being implemented right now, the woman or thinking stage or.
Now let me say this before you ask that question. There's a reason why, because Aunt Lucy, she already got plans. Okay. But what I'm scared of is if we do too much at one time financially, can that family support it?
Gotcha.
That's what makes me nervous. I don't want to, and you guys, and I'm saying that because there may be. In other words, I'm not asking them to wait. I'm really not. But we got to be careful how much, like this Dallas trip. A lot of people wanted to come, but if we didn't prep them right, they just couldn't make it. So go ahead and ask your question. But I'm saying the reason why I didn't really emphasize the women is because I know what's going to cost to make this boy thing go. And for them to get them to this spot and get them back, that's going to be a cost that I can't give them.
That's true. Got it.
So now go ahead and ask your question to the ladies.
You pretty much answered the question.
But I'm not stopping them.
Well, it's just putting it out there. If Aunt Lucy is thinking, I'm not saying her, don't be the one or anything like that. But it would be nice. It would be nice, like you said, vice versa, the same thing with the boys. When we get to age 13, the male has to be the one to groom them for the rest of their journey up to 18 and maybe even further.
The same rules with ladies, young ladies. 13 come, 12, 13 come around, certain, things, changes and stuff, and what have you, start to take place, and only a woman can take them from that stage and groom them from the rest of the time on. So I'm just saying, because
You got your daughters.
I got my daughters. Lord hasn't blessed me yet, but until then, hopefully I ain't found a cook in the spot, like I said. You mentioned her name.
She raised her hand, so I'm ready to let her go and talk.
I personally, from raising boys, I think that you're gonna have to reach back. 13 is pretty much too late to start with trying to develop a boy into a man. They build jails based on third-grade test scores. It's statistically sound. That's what they do. So 8-year-olds, because I've worked with them for 30-some years in school, plus I had 2 boys. I wish that I had had some male to impart in my boys' life. Maybe my son would have a better chance. But if you're waiting for these boys to get 13, you've already lost them. They already have their mind. I'm not saying that they can't be reeled back in, but you're gonna have a much tougher job.
And you're right, but here's what we gotta do. We gotta catch the 13 we have. We gotta get some group now. So this is not, the program is not necessarily just for the 13, but I'm trying to grab the ones we have now at 13. But you're right, these guys, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do about the rest too.
Yes, you do.
You're right.
Because you got parents that have 7- and 8-year-old boys, single parents that these boys need mentors. So I just ask you to reconsider, even if you want to take just the 13-year-old on that field trip, do something with these single parents that have, I just got finished dealing with 3 boys, 7 children, what did we have 3 or 4? 3 boys. 3 boys in my house, and I wish that I had had somebody to, in this family that would have stepped up and even called to see what could have been done. So I'm just saying, do something with these other children, not just the boys. Not wait till they get 13, they already have a mindset of their own.
You're right, and we're going to address it, and how we address it, we hear it. So, I mean, I don't have the answer. I know what the Lord put on my heart about how to start, but you're right. Somehow we got to cover.
I just want to say, in response to this, thinking about myself and my life, I think it's very important that we pray that the Lord will put men in your son's path. Because that's what happened to me. I have had several men, my friends' fathers, uncles, that have been put in my path to show me what it means, and then also what really got me started was when I went to church. My mother made sure I went there. And the deacons in my church, we had men's Bible study. They came in there and they gave me the example of what a man is through the understanding of who Jesus is. Jesus is our male example. He's our female. I don't know, but for me, Jesus turned out to be the example. But God always, that's just where prayer comes in, always put men in my path to show me what it means to love your wife. I had a man that showed me, not physically, or he didn't talk to me. He was an example. I watched him how he loved his wife, how he loved his family. I learned about finances through certain men. And in my church, the men in my church taught me how to be a good Christian male. Gave me good examples. So pray for your sons. Pray that God will put men and people. All my life, he has been putting people in my path as examples that I can follow. So pray for your sons.
Amen. Anybody else? This is what we need. This is what we need. You know, I don't claim that answer, but I got the motion and drive to get us to the answer. That's what I got. The rest of you guys, I mean, there's too many brains in this plan for me to act like I know the answers. But I do know we got the problems. And I'm tired of hearing stories. And I'm tired of being the guy that's saying I'm too busy. You know, I forget because it's a whole day's over. Next thing I know, I didn't call. I mean, I didn't make so many calls. Don't let me get started about how many boys I said I could call, and I haven't. So, yeah, there's got to be an answer to cover it all. And so, I'm going to put the mantle on a few guys' head, and we're going to push hard to get that mantle taken care of. And we don't want to let the women, I'm not saying women wait on us. I'm not saying wait on the men to get their act together.
I just want to say something as an outside observer. I just want to say something as an outside observer.
Don't consider yourself.
No, I'm just saying, you know, I see the family structure and I see all the love here.
Speak life.
And you are the exception to a lot of families. When you have internal strife in the family, they don't get along, you know, they have issues, they don't talk them out, they don't love them out, they don't pray them out. Where you have young people in a family, but you have women that, single parents, and there is no man structure. You have a lot of churches where you have women. I belong to a Baptist church. We have one deacon. He's 80 years old. He's got Alzheimer's. I take care of him, along with his one daughter. And she's in her 50s and has health issues. That's the only two men in our church. The other one is retired. He lives 6 months in Florida. So we don't have males in the churches. You have a lot. That's deacons. We have 5 women trustees. You know, there is a male role model is being lost. And we have stronger women taking over. Not because we want to, because somebody has to step up and do for these children. You have grandmothers that are stepping up. You got aunts stepping up. Older sisters stepping up. They don't get a chance to live their own life because they're raising their sisters, you know, that are drugs, other kids, and there is no structure. There's resentment because they're taking care of these kids because nobody else will, and they don't want them in the system. So I'm just saying that as a suggestion, you know, what if you have a male model? Again, tip of the iceberg.
There you go. That's what I was trying to do.
Tip of the iceberg. You know, don't blame a lot of women. You can take it over for men. And no, I understand what you said, but see, you're part of the generation when I came along where there were men. You know, a man was a man. My grandfather, when he told my uncles, and they're 13 years, I was the first grandchild, 13 years younger than they were. When my grandfather told my uncle, boy, I'm gonna beat you till your nose broke like okra. We had a garden. I didn't understand, I don't know what that is, but the way he said it, I didn't like to have it on me. And then when my grandma cooked it, and I saw what it looked like, my grandfather never put his hands on me. Because I was scared I wouldn't eat it. You know, and he would be there in the office. And when he got upset and said, but now, woo, that was it. Everybody would scatter because that was the grandpa's last word. But, you know, you have generations of people raised in one house. Now everybody want to rush, get grown, and get out on their own. It ain't wonderful out here, y'all. It ain't wonderful. You know, you need that support. You need that support. Right. And families have to come back together.
And I think what Fred is saying.
Fred, you made a wonderful point. You really did.
But here's what you got to remember what Fred said. He just said, here's what you got to remember. One, the biggest thing was the prayer. 2, we all know what is the church. Church ain't the building.
No.
Church ain't the place.
No.
So what he's saying is, he had deacons, we got nephew, cousin, he just sent a mail.
Yeah.
What he was emphasizing was the prayer. That God put a male in their life. That male should be, I'm saying that male should be us. He's saying because of the structure he was under, his males ended up coming out of the church. But the bottom line, was the prayer. That's what he's emphasizing.
And I say again, the younger you can
Yes,
get
ma'am.
them, the better it
We
is.
got to.
Because Regina reached out to my oldest granddaughter, but she was already out of high school, or just about to be out of high school, but now he was. And at 16 or 17 years old, she tried her best to reach her, but by that time, maybe she'd have tried earlier, but now he wasn't receptive. You see what I'm saying? So when we get these kids, the younger we get them, and mentor them up is better.
And the thing that I'm gonna say to you is, in my mind, it's a two-step process. In my mind, you have to take care of 13 and up. You have to do something for them. You're right though. At the same time, because see, these guys are looking up. So if you're not taking care of this guy, you're just jumping on this guy, then when he goes home to his brothers and he goes home to his family members, this guy is going to take you back down. So to me, you have to attack this first and get some stability. And so we're agreeing. We're just trying to figure out the process. And that's what this whole, the next year, we've got to figure out with leadership of how do we get these guys in order and what's the next step. So, but this is great, folks. This is what we're talking about. I've heard the ladies. I've heard the mothers. I've seen, I look at Xavier. That's a king. That's a king in the making. I see Emmanuel. Those are kings in the making. And if we don't grab those two kings right now, the world may grab them up. So that's what I'm talking about. Those are the kings I want to grab right now before the world grabs them up. I want to get TK with Emmanuel and Elijah. Xavier. And I want to make sure that he tells them the stories that he's going through. So he don't have to go through them. I want him to get in the room and I want him to look him in the eye and I want him to scare straight. Man, let me tell you what I've been through. Let me open up to what I've walked. While you listen to them homeboys in the corner telling how great it is, let me tell you what it is to be in the jail cell and want to call them out. So that's the kind of stuff I want to do immediately, but at the same time.
Another strategy can be if you have a teacher work with Xavier, then you can Xavier come right around with my son.
There we go.
My son,
Now y'all seeing. Now y'all seeing. Now y'all seeing what I was a little bit about. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I know
No, you all go.
But one thing that I think about too is like, children being at this reunion is so powerful. Like when I think about the people you're talking about people who've been here and who've been with them, and like, I don't know who was saying it yesterday, but I was just listening in and they were saying like, wow, like, look at the way the children are just, and that's how it always was for me, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, my dad was going to be here, but if he wasn't going to be here, I was going to be mad. Ooh, I would have been mad. I would have been mad. So, like, even if, like, there was a way for us to, like, let's say parents couldn't come, maybe they couldn't get off work, but, like, finding a way to get the kids here and have a way for them to be with their cousins. Because I feel like that's so important, you know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, if you would have been like, oh, we can't go this year, I would have been so alone. But that's only because I was here consistently.
Right.
Like, if I would have been the one, it might not have been the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there might have been kids who could have come this year, but their parents couldn't have come. Or you know what I mean? Like, if we could have been like, okay, well, maybe we're gonna take on just like that maybe not financially, but maybe they can stay in my room. You know what I mean? Or they can, making sure that kids.
But that goes along with what we just learned today. Because one of the things that the Lord, and y'all see this is right. One of the things, me and Sparkle spend a lot of time putting stuff down. One of the things you'll see in there is sponsoring people to the meeting. Okay. We've got to set aside funds. So people want to come, we got to be able to get them here. We got to have, that's the kind of support system we got to have for this family. The stuff that they need to be able to do, we need to be, and she said that 10% wealth and stuff like that. The idea of borrowing from myself, did y'all catch that? I ain't got to go to a bank, ask for a loan. The whole discussion about not having, man, come on. I recorded that. I'm going to use that every day to get myself scored away. Anyway, folks, is there?
Or even, I mean, this is maybe taking from, I like the Cassidy, that top 10, tithe, charity. Who says we can't have our own charity?
Yes. Hey, don't. That's in writing. That's in writing. And one of my notes is I want us to become I want us to come on in there, CO1C. Why can't we become now somebody told me it's kind of hard to become. Why can't we become a nonprofit organization? Why can't GCH become a nonprofit organization? Why can't we have our own scholarships that we go to Pepsi and everybody else and give money to send folks to school? How come we can't do that? Now, Sparkler said we got pages. That's the plan. Non-profit organization, I'm sorry about that. There's no reason why we cannot furnish the support for this family and get Pepsi, all the big companies, corporations, but we got to prove to them it's a good investment for them. Just like every other scholarship it does. But anyway, y'all give me started. So all I'm saying, there's a list. Praise the Lord. We're back to that iceberg thing. We only gave y'all three things that we've been talking about this family being involved in. The finance, the scholastic, and the boys and men. That's only three things of the list of things that this family, the Lord has put on my spirit, and I know He's got on you guys' spirit because He ain't just talking to me. Of things that more than just come to reunion. The reunion, I'm leaving this last thing I'm saying. The reunion should be a celebration of the things we've done for 2 years. It should not be just a reunion. We should be coming and celebrate what we've done in the family. That's what it should be. Okay? So with that, this was supposed to be my section, but I did these 2 points I was going to talk about. The most important was from Regina, but that really was awesome. Now I think we're ready to take a little break. As you see,